And it shall ring.
Yep. Hello? Hi, we're looking for the fucking amazing Dean Edwards.
Hey, what's up, fellas?
Yeah!
Yo, what's up, brother?
All right, dude, I got tons.
There he is, the legend.
The legend. I got tons of fucking questions here. All right, we'll get to the play. We just talked about it. Race, the movie, the play. We will get there in 1 minute. All right.
Okay.
I gotta ask you, former member of SNL. All right. Now your talent is phenomenal. The impressions are spot on. Like right now, if you can, I know I don't want to put you on the spot, but if you can I?
You want me to run through a medley of everybody from Denzel Washington to Tracy Morgan to Cat Williams, and maybe we'll do some Adam Sandler. And baby, let me tell you, if you want to talk to Monique is on the phone, or maybe we'll do some John Lithgow. You like John Lithgow?
Or
maybe even Papa. Listen, we could do Luis Guzman. You make a choice. It's up to you.
See, spot on, spot fucking on. And now. Okay, so now...
Very cool.
Give me a brief history. How do you get to SNL? How does that happen?
Dirty Rock.
Oh, man, the brief version is I looked up, I had been a stand-up for about, at that point, they saw me about 9 years into my career. I had booked Mad TV first, which actually gave us some leeway so that when SNL was interested in me, they gained interest in me the night I had auditioned for Mad TV, and I had a great callback, or I had a great audition, and so I was in a good mood, had a great set at a stand-up showcase in the city, and it just so happened that SNL was there. Mad TV offered me a job. Eventually I said no. My agent got to play that summer, sort of play both to the middle, and initially said no to SNL, but they said they'd give us an answer within a week because I was going to Just for Laughs, Montreal Comedy Festival, and then also in the meantime, a friend of mine was auditioning at the same time. This upstart comic named Kevin Hart.
Never heard of him.
He called me and he's like, hey, Dean, man, hey, you know what? I'm auditioning for SNL. I need some help with my audition. So I said, I'll help you, but just so you know, I'm also auditioning. I wasn't telling people, and helped Kev with his, and wound up, screen testing for SNL, and less than a week later, I went to meet with Lauren, and that same day he hired me. I flew to Montreal Comedy Festival as a new face, and wound up, after my showcases got to announce that I had booked SNL. So it was, and then my first day of our first day of work was supposed to be September 11th, 2001. So go figure.
Yeah, I mean. Wow. Was that a busy day? I'm just trying to know. So, all right. So let me understand this. So you made it all the way there. You did all the bullshit. You had two freaking things fighting over you. Mad TV, SNL fighting over you. You end up on SNL. Mm-hmm. Then you leave, though. Now, this is the thing I'm trying to understand. You have all this fucking talent. You are literally spot on. I mean, your Denzel Washington sends goosebumps up my spine. You are a phenomenal impressionist.
Thanks,
you seriously, and funny as fuck in general, because if you, by the way, go to DeanEdwards.net, you can check out his stand-up and everything else up there, plus all his social media and everything else is up there. That's DeanEdwards.net for everybody else.
Yes, sir.
All right, so now, you got that going on, and then you then you leave abruptly for creative disagreements. How did that fucking work out?
It wasn't. I mean, ultimately, they decided to, in Hollywood is funny because when people say leave, it's really you had a job and suddenly you don't. And so I had a job. The contract wasn't renewed for season 3, and I was like, all right. So I wound up getting a deal with ABC Touchstone to, either develop a show or get cast on a show, and that's how that went. So there was no bad blood between myself and Lauren and team, but they just they wanted to go a different direction and hire some new Negroes, and one of those cats was what's his name was Kenan Thompson, so it worked out.
Well, I mean, it worked out, but I think, no offense to Kenan Thompson, I think you're more talented. That's just me. Did like Good Burger, but guess what? It's not the same as SNL.
You always like burgers.
Right. Anything with burgers, I am fucking excited. You're right, John.
Right.
All right, so, but here's it, because, look, I was looking for something like, and then Lorne Michaels dropped the N-bomb next to me, and then I had to fucking leave.
Oh.
I was waiting on something like that. Hey, I took a shot. I don't know, I was Canadian. So all right, so
that's funny.
So okay, creative differences. They don't use you. Blah 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 blah. Yakety schmaggety. What was it like?
Right.
Being like, because now they just weren't using you. Now why weren't they using you? Because it has to be a weird kind of thing. You're there. You busted your ass. You're finally on SNL. You're a major player.
Yeah,
well, you think you're a major player then at that point.
Yeah, and I think season 1 I got used a lot because I was the new toy. You know, I got used a great deal. And I remember Tracy saying, "You gotta have at least 2 hot shows to justify your existence," because we had probably about 15, 16 cast members on the show when I was on it, and so if you had a handful of like good pops during the season, and I think I probably had about 4 or 5, where it was like memorable moments that sort of justified my being there. But then I think season 2, Will Ferrell had left, Anna Gasteyer had left, probably took a million fans with them, and I think our numbers were down, and they I wasn't getting utilized as much, and was even at one point told, they're going to sort of focus on the senior cast members because they have to make sure when people tune in, go straight in to make it right. They need people to recognize who they're seeing on camera, which makes sense. But nobody new wants to hear that. You're like, well, what about me? So yeah, make the left. Yeah. So it by the end of the season, I don't think I had as many great looks. And obviously, like I said, the season probably, because we had just come off of winning, I think, an Emmy for best writing my first season. So we had a lot to prove. My second season, which I think was season 28. And it probably wasn't as strong a season as we had hoped, and in the law of attrition, you don't get rid of the established people. You're like, well, the low people on the totem pole. So myself and my writing partner and buddy, he also was just a writer, but we shared an office and wrote together. Max Brooks, who wound up going on. Went to find success with World War Z, and is a senior fellow, and is always on Bill Maher. So people. I never looked at SNL as a finishing point. I was like, all right, I rock with it. I love it. Funny enough, I just spoke to Fred Armisen yesterday. We hadn't spoken in a while, and a friend of mine actually was working on a project with Fred, passed my information. Fred reached out, and we spoke for the first time in a while. It was just great and that's the thing, like when you're on SNL, I think similar to, I was in the Army, so similar to when you're in the military, even if you haven't seen people for years, you all went through the same boot camp and same experiences.
Of course,
so
yeah.
it was great catching up with them. Yeah.
All right, so Max Brooks, by the way, that's Mel's kid, right?
That's Mel and Ann's kid, Ann Bancroft.
God damn.
Oscar went.
Oh.
No.
Ah, we had him. We lost him. Hold on, I gotta call him back.
Uh-oh.
Right when we get to a Mel Brooks connection. Holy shit. I don't know, Jesus.
Hello.
Yeah, we lost him.
I don't know if my ear pressed it or the spirit of Ann was like, make sure they say my name properly.
Damn right. No, look in this auditorium, in this studio, in this world, Anne Bancroft and Mel Brooks are, holy people. They're saints in our eyes.
Oh, yeah.
That's why when you drop the name, I'm like, holy shit, that's Mel Brooks' kid he's talking about. All right. Well, he's hanging out with some good people. All right, so now...
Oh, yeah, no, great family, great family.
All right, so and the only reason why I brought up so much SNL stuff is because, to me, SNL, I was saying it before, the SNL stands for Sorry Not Laughing after a while, because the show itself... Geez. Yeah, the show got a little... The show hasn't been... Stale. Yeah, it's been stale a little bit, and I think like a guy like you with so much tremendous talent, that's why I'm saying it's like they're not utilizing... When they have the guy there, it doesn't have to just be you. When they have the guy there that has the talent, you should use that guy. I bet you if they used you more, the shows would suck less. That's all I'm trying to say.
I will not disagree with that, but I also think, and having been on the show and done 41 episodes, I think, unfortunately, the show goes through peaks and valleys.
Absolutely.
And and I think every few seasons you have, not even every few seasons, but every few episodes you have some great episodes, and you have some episodes that aren't as strong. But the biggest challenge, people always compare other shows, whether it's in Living Color, Mad TV, Chappelle's Show, Key and Peele, they always compare, but you really you can't compare SNL to those, because all of those shows are pre-taped. And when you're flying without a net, flying live, you're actually doing this show live. It's if a sketch might have, going into the dress rehearsal show at Saturday night, 8 p.m., the sketch might have been 5 minutes long, and then by the time the live version airs, the sketch might have gotten cut by 4 or 5 pages, 2.5 minutes. So a 5-minute sketch now gets trimmed down to, say, 3 minutes, and you lose something in there. But you also, the goal when you're producing the sketch for the world to see is, you're like, we believe in this enough that it's still something that's going to be memorable and funny and irreverent, and hopefully people connect. I think also we all love the show more when we're younger, because we have longer attention spans. And as you get older, you become more jaded and cynical, and so you watch and you have a different perspective. And you're like, that was funny the first 2.5 minutes, but it went on too long. And Tracy used to say, he was like, the show doesn't go on because it's ready. The show goes on because it's 11:30. And so it's constantly a work in progress. That when you're on the show, you hope that whatever you're doing connects with people, and I think still at Baton that they have a higher average of wins than L's.
Of course, yeah.
But it's still I understand when people say, the show was, because it's also, it's like a singer or a musician that you dug when you were 15 years old may not resonate the same way when they put out the new music, and you go to their concert and you're like, yeah, can you just do the songs that I know? I want to hear these new hits. And so that's the other thing that you face on SNL.
Are you in an Uber right now?
No, I'm actually in my brother-in-law's car.
Oh, say hi to your brother-in-law.
They said hi, man. They said hi.
Well, we know that you went left because you were saying you can make a left here, so we know that much.
Right.
All right. So now that was then. This is now. Now you're doing Race, the movie, the play. You've been doing it. Now you're doing it in Brooklyn on November 10th and 11th at 275 Park. Which, by the way, you can go to 275parkbk.com for tickets. You can check that out November 10th, November 11th. So that's this coming up. That's this weekend.
That is this weekend.
Friday.
Again, his either
Friday and Saturday.
Either his brother-in-law hit him, or the thing. And Joe, stop ripping shit in the thing. Yeah, you are. You're ripping it. Yeah.
No, I think. Hello.
How big are your ears?
My ear.
How big are your ears?
My Will Smith ears keep knocking the phone out. I'm trying to like it. I apologize for that.
It's
but
all
yeah,
right.
we're doing the show again, man, this weekend. We're super excited about it because we ran during the New York Theater Festival about a year and a half ago and wound up winning a bunch of awards, and then we put the show up again this past spring, early summer at Soho Playhouse, and got extended. We were only supposed to do 4 weeks, but we wound up going an additional.
Jesus Christ, his ears are huge.
They did continue.
He probably has dead zones. He's dropping. His clothes dropping.
Yeah.
No, I think his fucking ears are monstrous.
Maybe he's hitting a bump in the car.
Maybe his brother-in-law's ears, too, are in the way. Hold on for a minute. Let's try to get him back on the fucking air.
Okay.
His ears are just monstrous.
No.
Yes.
Dumbo.
I'm now on speaker, so my ear's not touching the phone. So it's not
I'm starting to think you and your brother-in-law should drive to the hospital because your ears have to be too big.
No, I tell you.
All right. So, by the way, also, we're talking to Dean Edwards. We're talking about a whole bunch of shit. We already wasted his time talking about SNL. But we're talking about right now, we're talking about Race, the movie, the play. I love the tagline of this play. From the guys who watched Green Book and 12 Years a Slave.
Okay.
That is fucking phenomenal.
Okay.
Because, by the way, also, just to point out one thing that everyone doesn't seem to understand, we can't stop racism.
No.
All right? So we have to laugh at it. We got to laugh at the stupidity that it is. And that's what this play does better than anything. That's what this play does.
Exactly.
It makes a mockery of all those movies that have the white savior and all that stuff. And now who do you play in this? Give me the name of the guy.
Yeah, I play a character named Gene Yus. His last name is Y-U-S, so Gene Yus. And my co-star, co-lead in the show, Brett Raybold, who's also one of the writers and producers on the show with me, his character is Wyatt Savior.
As in Wyatt, yes.
Not to be... Yeah. and really, the names sort of, highlight exactly what the show is. You get an understanding that this show is really it's goofing on all of those movies, all of those ideas and tropes in Hollywood where there's a white savior, whether it's the Green Book, whether it's a Green Mile, a lot of green, Driving Miss Daisy. What's the movie with Sandra Bullock and the football player?
Blind Side.
The Blind Side. We're goofing on all of these ideas, and we use the Green Book sort of as the foundation. But we're goofing on everything. It's sort of like those old Zucker brothers movies, David Zucker, Airplane, the Naked Gun series, where we're spoofing any and everything in pop culture and entertainment. There are even some references to the Avengers. I mean, we do our best to sort of cover everything in this show. And what's been great is doing the show. Live theater is wonderful because as there's a good amount of the cast that are comics. I'd say probably about 60% of the cast members are actual stand-up comedians, and we actually got disqualified for being considered best play during the New York Theater Festival a few years ago because our show went long because we were getting so many laughs. And, as comedic performers, you can't run over your laughter or people are going to miss, exposition of a lot of material. So oftentimes we had to just wait for the laughter to die down to proceed with the play. And that, for me, it was wonderful. It's been a wonderful experience, man, and having people afterwards come up of all races, especially with what the world is experiencing now with this war in the Middle East. It's just nice to have people come up from different backgrounds and say, you know what, I felt uncomfortable initially, but two sides. Like I've had black people come up and say, you know what, I didn't know what to expect, but I appreciate that I entrusted you and you all didn't let me down and make me feel bad for laughing. And then on the flip side, you have, Caucasian not cast members, but audience members coming up saying, you know what, there are things I didn't realize now until seeing your show, and now I feel comfortable, having some questions answered or even having these conversations. So that's really it's comedy, but it's also a think piece, that people can sort of have conversations, and we even, I don't know if we're doing it this weekend, but we had a bunch of Q&As and talkbacks after a bunch of the shows we did this spring, just because the material can be heavy. The material is heavy, but we cover it in a lighthearted manner so that people can find a way to look at the absurdity of prejudice and racism.
Now, is there a chance that Race the Movie, the play, becomes Race the Movie, the play, the movie?
That's the goal. That's honestly that's been the goal from when the guys approached me. Again, Brett Raybould and Christian Duran are two writers / performers that wrote this during the pandemic, and they wrote it initially as it was just a sketch, and the sketch was called Not Another Slave Movie, right? Not another because wow. So
that's a fucking great title.
They sort of, they wrote this one scene spoof that turned into a bunch of scenes, and then it turned into a full-on screenplay, and they submitted the screenplay to this major screenwriting contest and won. But then the producers that they met with actually said, "This is great, but you can't make it. You'll never make it. No one will want to touch this. This is too edgy." And they said, "You know what? The best way to prove them wrong is to bring it directly to the people." And so that's how it became Race the Movie, the play. But ultimately, the goal is to make it, and I believe it will become Race the Movie, the play, the movie eventually. And I look forward to that day, because there are things that once we shoot, we can do. We're limited in the theater space, but when you're able to shoot things, then you have a little more freedom to really step up the production value and make it even funnier. And the greatest applause for our show really has come from the comedy world. I was just talking to, I'm sure you know Godfrey, and
yes,
did his podcast last night, and he actually came out to the show, as did probably, I won't say hundreds of, but many comics from the New York City tri-state area. So we blasted and made sure people were aware of the show, and so comics actually were coming out supporting, and then afterwards saying, "Yo, this is funny," and that when you can make a room full of comics laugh, you won, because a big laugh from a comedian is them sitting there pointing and saying, "Oh, that's good," and so to look out and see comics actually laughing, engaging in the show, that was the icing on the cake.
That's the best feeling in the world. When we have I made you laugh a couple of times, and let me tell you, that makes me fucking laugh. That makes me so happy, because you're like uber talented. I'll say I'm talented. I'm down here, but you're like uber talented. And if I make you laugh,
I'm Uber, you're Lyft.
Yes, I'm Lyft. I can't lift my fat ass, but I'm Lyft. Thank you. That was my car backing up. But what my point is that when you make, and I get what you're saying, if you can make a room full of comics laugh, and they look at you and they go, "Holy shit, I didn't even think of that joke. That was so great." Oh, it's one of the greatest feelings in the world.
If you can impress your peers.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to impress those peers, get off your ass. It's last call for tickets right now, November 10th and the 11th, 275 Park, 275 ParkBK.com for tickets. And I believe, I think if you use the promo code, trying to find the promo code to make sure that it's accurate and dated right before you actually use it, and then people get all pissy when they use the promo code. Racism solved, all one word, racism solved, and you'll save some money on the tickets. So if you want to laugh your ass off like half of the comics in New York City who have laughed at this man, Dean Edwards, and his white savior sidekick that are in this play. And you can be a genius and go see the best. Nice. I'm telling you right now, I've seen articles written about it. I've seen some clips. I never got to get down there. It is. I this weekend's a little shot for me, but I definitely would want to see this. So I hope you guys come back around again to do this play because I can't wait. Cannot wait to see it. It's called Race. Race, the movie, the play. It is running right now, 10th and the 11th, 275 Park, BK.com. Get your tickets now. Dean and your big ears and your brother-in-law, thank everybody that's in this interview, and thank you for being on the show, man. And it's an honor, and thank you for putting up with my SNL questions. Oh, yeah. That's a give him a round of applause.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Oh, thanks, fellas. And listen, as you can tell, I have no problem talking about SNL because I know it's an American institution, and I know that I'm one of the few exceptional people in the last nearly 50 years that have been on the show. So I never mind when people, ask. I know people are curious about it the same way I was curious about it before the show. You want to know how the hot dogs were made.
Absolutely.
So I don't mind answering people's questions about the show at all, man. And it's still one of my favorite experiences in my professional career. So much love to them. Much love to you guys for having us.
Absolutely.
You can get your tickets at 275 Park, or I think racethemovieToplay.com. You can also get the tickets, or they'll guide you to buy the tickets. And man, check us out. This is not the last time we're doing it. We honestly wanted to do this show as sort of a thank you and appreciation to all of the people that came out and supported us for that sold out run this spring. And so we said, let's just keep the momentum going and let's do a couple of shows while the New York Comedy Festival is going on. So we said we have a lot of comedy fans that are converging onto New York City. Why not do it right now? So let's do it.
All right, do me one favor before you get out of here. Can you have Denzel Washington say goodbye to us?
Of course. Eddie, let me tell you something. You know what? I was waiting for you to tell me, to ask me to do it. I was like, you're not going to ask me to say anything? Huh? Hey, come out to see Race, the movie, to play this weekend. I guarantee you're going to enjoy it and laugh. And Genius and Wyatt Savior.
Ladies and gentlemen, the equalizer, Dean Edwards. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, sir, for being on the show, brother. Thank you. And continued success. Continued success, sir. I want nothing but the best for you, my friend. Enjoy yourself.
My man, I appreciate it.
We'll see you on the top. We'll see you on the top.
You'll be looking down at us when you're on the top. Say hi to us.
Never that. We all the same out here.
Later, brother.